Good morning everyone. So today's lecture's topic is mammography and tomosynthesis. How to read a mammogram? What are the technical considerations for the reading of a mammogram? What is the size and positioning of the patient? Then the symmetry of bilateral breast. Then we'll deal with the surgery, surgical notes of the patient, and then the comparison. So what are the technical consideration for the mammography? We need to give the adequate compression to spread the breast tissue evenly, and we have to stabilize the breast to reduce the motion artifacts. And thirdly, we need to do the correct technique to obtain excellent images. Otherwise, we can miss small lesions in the breast. So for the purpose of the mammography screening, we need to do the technique properly to detect every possible small lesion in the breast. So first of all, we see the position of the posterior nipple line. We see the symmetry of both the breast in the 5 spots, and we compare it. If there is a history of surgery, we compare it with the earlier surgery. We compare both the images which were taken immediately after the surgery and the recent one. So what are the technical consideration? A breast compression is applied to reduce the thickness of the breast, which results in improved image quality due to reduced breast tissue superimposition, and it also reduces the X-ray scatter. We need to give the less factor. If we compress the breast, we need to give the less factors. The compression also limits the required for the exposure dose. The compression pedal holds the breast tissue in a fixed position, reducing the risk of the motion artifacts, and there is also reduction of the image blurring due to the compression. An artifact is defined as any variation in mammographic density which is not caused by true attenuation difference in the breast. Motion artifact can occur due to the patient movement, inadequate compression, long exposure or poor positioning technique, and all these things can cause blurring of the image, hindering the efficacy of the test. What are the technical considerations? We need to ensure the correct technique. When we are taking MLO view, we need to see that the pectoral muscle is clearly visualized. Whether it is clearly visualized or not, this part is partial shadow of the pectoral muscle. This is the axilla and this is the breast tissue. We also ensure that the inframammary fold is open. This area is inframammary fold. If we have any skin fold in this area, we can confuse it with some lesion. So it should be open. In the MLO view, the pectoral muscle should be visualized and glandular tissue should not be cut off. All the glandular tissue should be within the image. We should see the pectoral muscle, and the inframammary fold should be clearly separated. In the craniocaudal view, this is a craniocaudal view. In this we see the posterior nipple line. Posterior nipple line is a line which is drawn from the posterior aspect of nipple to the posterior most part of the image. So posterior nipple line is, in the posterior nipple line we start from the retroglandular fat, medial breast tissue and nipple in profile. This part should show the nipple in profile. We should be able to see the retroglandular fat. This is the glandular tissue and this area is retroglandular fat. So we should be able to see the posterior nipple line. We should be able to see the retroglandular fat and medial breast tissue. And we should be able to see the nipple in profile. Then we consider it as a correct technique for the CC view. Posterior nipple line, a line drawn posteriorly and perpendicularly from the nipple towards the pectoral muscle on the mammogram. The difference between the posterior nipple line measures on CC and MLO view should not be more than 1 centimeter. This is the MLO view, this is CC view. In this MLO view, we can see this is a posterior nipple line. It is extending from the posterior aspect of the nipple to the pectoral shadow. And in the CC view, we are measuring this posterior nipple line which is extending from the posterior aspect of the nipple to the posterior most part of the shadow. the measurement of these two lines should not differ more than 1 centimeter, or both these should be almost equal. Then we consider it that it is taken with the good technique. Then we look for the symmetry. This is the right breast, this is the left breast. We see the symmetry of the fibroglandular tissue of both the breast. In this we can see asymmetrical area in this area. This is MLO view of the right breast, this is MLO view of the left breast. And in the we also compare the symmetry of upper 1/3, middle 1/3 and lower 1/3 simultaneously in both the breast. And when we compare it simultaneously in both breast, we can see that there is a lesion in the upper part of the breast. See this. This way we can compare the symmetry of tissue bilaterally. So there is asymmetry in this area. Then we look for the microcalcification in the upper 1/3, middle 1/3 and lower 1/3. For visualization of the microcalcification, we need to use the magnifying lens. Now the breast calcification. Breast calcification are deposits of calcium salt in the breast which are radio-opaque on mammography. Most calcification in the breast form either within the ductal tissue or outside the ductal tissue. Intraductal are mostly benign or within the acini, while the lobular, which are suspicious and classified as Bird's 4 or 5. Microscopically, calcification typically present are calcium phosphate or calcium oxalate salts which are deposited within the breast tissue, and the later one are most likely benign. Then skin calcification should be differentiated from the calcification of the breast parenchyma. Tattoo sign, there is same relationship to each other on multiple mammographic view. Usually the skin lesion in dermal sweat glands after low grade folliculitis and inspissation of sebaceous material, round or oval shape calcification may be seen, and they may have lucent center. Tattoo can also mimic with the microcalcification of the breast. Vascular calcification are parallel tram track like appearance. This is a mammographic image showing vascular calcification, tram track like appearance. Then coarse popcorn calcification also goes in favor of benign lesion, which are commonly seen in the hematomas. Large rod-like calcifications are also indicative of benign lesion. Within usually seen in women over 60 years of age, they are diffuse, bilaterally directed, oriented towards the nipple and form within the ectatic ducts. They are usually intraductal and sometimes they are periductal also. These are peripheral calcification with central lucency. These are also benign calcifications, maybe cystic calcification. These are all example of benign calcification. Peripheral calcification with central lucency, peripheral calcification with central lucency. These are coarse calcification within the mass. We can see a soft tissue mass also. These are popcorn like calcification, central lucency with calcification, tram track calcification. Then these are suspicious calcification. They can be amorphous and pleomorphic and multiple microcalcifications also. Suspicious calcifications are categorized in amorphous, fine pleomorphic, fine linear or fine linear branching type of calcifications. Then MLO evaluation in 5 spots. First of all, we have to look in the axilla, then into the nipple and subareolar region, then interface, that is the edge of the cone. Then danger zone is retroglandular fat, this is retroglandular fat, superior inferior fat skin, this area, and whitest on the this area is whitest on the film. We should see the we should also look into the axillary region for any lymphadenopathy. This is the axilla, this part is axilla, this is retroareolar and nipple area. Then interface of these two, retroglandular fat and glandular tissue. Then superior skin and inferior fold. This image showing various areas like I have already explained. This is axillary region, nipple, this is glandular tissue, glandular fat, inferior and superior aspect. 5 spots. Then we should look for the symmetry in craniocaudal view. Shade symmetry like this is the right side, this is the left side, both of them are showing symmetry. We compare the upper 1/3, middle 1/3 and lower 1/3 in CC view of both breasts like this. Then we use magnifying glass for evaluation of the craniocaudal view, like we have already used in the MLO view. These are the areas for the evaluation of the craniocaudal view. 5 spots. This is the lateral breast, then nipple subareolar region, then edge of the cones, then retroglandular fat, superior inferior fat skin. Then we need to take the history of the patient. If there is any history of the surgery, it is recommended that women who undergo a breast conserving surgery should get a mammogram of treated breast 6 to 12 months after radiation treatment ends. Surgery and radiation both cause changes in the skin and breast tissue that will show up on the mammogram, which might take it harder to read. The mammogram done at this time serve as a new baseline. So this will be the baseline for the patient in the post-operative evaluation for the affected breast. Future mammogram will be compared with this one to assess healing and also to look for any recurrence of the lesion. So this is post-operative. This is the baseline mammogram of the patient in the post-operative stage. We can see that there is development of a density in this area which has increased in size further. We need to compare it from the early baseline mammogram in case of surgical patient, like we have already seen in this image. This is a post-surgery, immediate post-surgery mammogram. Then we have done it a bit later, and this is recent scan of the patient. So there was a density in the follow-up scan, and which has increased in size in the further follow-up. It is shown by the arrows in these images. Then comparison with the prior mammogram is a must. It improves reading performance, reduces false positive result by up to 44%. Recall rate also significantly reduced. When we are very clear that there is no mass or there is definitely a mass, then recall rate is reduced for the borderline cases. The likelihood of identifying a developing lesion or a progressive change, even a slow change in an existing lesion, increase as the number of prior examination for comparison are available, and they are more in number. These are again benign lesion. This is accessory breast tissue. This is simple cyst. This is fibroadenoma with coarse calcification. These are axillary nodes. Then this is suspicious lesions, speculated lesions. This is a density in the breast tissue which is showing retraction of nipple. The margin of the lesions are irregular and speculated, and spot compression view also showing the same finding very clearly. We can also see the multiple calcific foci, tiny calcific foci within the lesion also. So this was a suspicious lesion. So full field 2D digital mammography is used for annual screening of a patient, and annual mammogram reduces breast cancer mortality rate from 50%. 20% of breast cancer missed by a mammogram. In the US, 10% recall rate is there. Full field digital mammography limitations are there is tissue superimposition, overlapping of the normal breast structure in two-dimensional mammography projection may lead to misdiagnosis, or we are not able to see a lesion which is already there, or we can interpret a lesion which is not there as a lesion. So 2D mammography has this limitation. For that we need to do the 3D scan. And what do we call the 3D scan of the breast? That is tomosynthesis. In the 2D mammogram, what is the challenge? There is superimposition of the tissue which hides the pathology, or it may mimic a pathology, leading to the misdiagnosis. While in the tomosynthesis we get a 3D image. In this example we can see that this is the mammography which is showing that the blue area is normal breast tissue and the red area is a lesion, and the normal breast tissue has superimposed the lesion in the 2D scan, while in the 3D it is separated from the superimposed normal breast tissue. So we are able to pick up this lesion in the 3D scan which was missed in the 2D mammographic image. So the tomosynthesis is 3D mammography of the breast. Patient position is same, X-ray tube moves in an arc-like manner. A series of low-dose images are acquired from different angle projection. So this image is showing the mechanism of 3D mammography of breast which is called as tomosynthesis. Thank you very much.